Hey there, welcome to Authentically Raw. I'm your host, Jamie Darris. Louise Ashby. Hello and welcome to the Authentically Raw podcast. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. It's such a pleasure to have you on. I have done lots of little stalking and researching on you. We have a lot to talk about and I'm really excited. So I will let you introduce yourself, but first I will say you are a transformation and mindset coach, and there is so much in your life that has led you up to this point, and I have to throw out there, which is really cool, including actress and model. No wonder you are just gorgeous. So tell us more about you, Louise.
Okay, well, as you can tell from my accent, I'm British, but I've lived in the States for 30 plus years. I was in Los Angeles for 26 years, which I loved the weather, I just loved it. And I was 20 and I was a young actress and model, so I was really excited. Been through a lot of family trauma right before the move. Do you want me to go straight into my story or just?
Nope, just keep going how you are. It's all fascinating.
Okay, so I moved to LA when I was 20, and I say now that I'm a transformation and mindset coach, but that's not what I set out to be. From the age of 4, I set out to be an actor. And it was basically me telling the universe, right, I'm going to move to Hollywood and act. And that's what my life is going to be. I always had that plan since I was 4 years old. And so whenever something would go on in my life that was traumatic or gave me anxiety or fear or anything like that, I would refocus and go, it's okay, you're going to be an actress, so this is just going to be your past, your future's going to be great. And I would just kept doing that. And then when my stepfather and my mother divorced and all these other things came out, I did it again. No, it's all right, you're an actress, you're going to be, I'm a very sensitive and emotional person. I'm a Scorpio, and I see things. So I have dreams about things that are about to happen, or I like all these weird things. I can sense if a room has got somebody else there that's not meant to be there. I see spirits and all those kind of things. And the reason I'm saying that is just because it comes up in my story. And so my mom, when I was 16, then my mom got sick with cancer. She had leukemia, and she was my best friend and basically my everything. And so myself and my grandmother became her caretakers. So I wasn't just her daughter, I was her nurse, her confidant, her best friend, her daughter. And she was amazing. And she basically embodied such strength and courage to go through what she went through with 3 kids. I was, 16. My sister was 7 years younger than me. So she was 9 and my brother was 7. I mean, it was just a lot. It's just a lot. And she was unbelievably strong and courageous and an incredible example for me, to set me up for what was to come that I didn't know was coming. So then when I was 20, so she was 45 when she died. And at the time I thought 45 was old because I just didn't understand. And now, and I know a lot of people go through this as they start approaching the age when a parent dies. If you're a man and it's the man in your life, your father, but for me as a woman, the mother. So as I'm approaching 45, I didn't understand why I had such bad anxiety and I was so emotional. And then I just thought, oh, hold on a second. Mum was this age when she died. Now you're about to overtake her. And that's a weird feeling. But then once you get through it, it's like, okay. And I made it so that when I was in my 45th year, that I really lived for her, if that makes sense, that I really, just dedicated that year to her and saying, look, I know you didn't get to do it, but let's do this now together. So
that's beautiful.
It was, yeah. You know what? She was really very, very special, and it's hard, but I was the girl that always was emotional, like I said, and everyone go, oh God, Lou, she still cries whenever she feels sad and everything. And I'm like, I do. And I used to think it was a real really awful, a real horrible thing, because people go, God, you're so emotional. And it's like, you know what? It's what makes me good at my job now. And it's what makes me able to pick up on everybody else's sensitivities and emotions, because I get it. And yeah, I am a very in touch and sensitive person. And I love that about me. I used to not, because I would listen to other people's criticisms, but now I just love it. I think, you know what? It's part of me. So you deal with your parts, I'll deal with mine.
I love that you said that. I have to say it, because I am the same. I am highly sensitive, and I went through my whole life trying to bury it down and have thick, tough skin, which there's,
right.
I mean, like, there's that side of me too.
Yeah.
But I feel everything for other people. And
Yeah.
you know what? It's not a curse. It's a gift. And
it is.
It is. Since you're so sensitive, you listen to all those voices that tell you, quit being so sensitive. Like, it's so terrible of you.
That's right.
It's like, are you kidding me?
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, life's hard enough, right? We on that journey to love ourselves so we can love others. Don't put me down when I'm trying to get in touch with who I am and really, accept everything about me, and like I accept everything about you. So when she passed away, it was something that, like, the minute she went into the coma, I was armed with this strength. It was unbelievable. I was the one that was outside the door when her friends and people were going in to say their goodbyes while she was on, because we were told she was going to go within, hours or days. And they would come out crying, and I'd be standing there going, it's okay. Yeah. And I was like, what has happened to me? This is crazy. This doesn't make any sense. And then, she passed. She passed a few days later. I think she waited for her grandfather's birthday to pass, because he was the closest person in her life. So she passed away, and I made the move to Los Angeles. Finally, in my head, I was like, finally, I'm going to be an actress. And I got there. I was on my own. Had friends out there. A lot of people that I knew in London had moved to LA because they also were actors or in the music business or in the film business. And I got myself a great apartment. I was so excited. I just kind of felt like this was my time. I'd gone through everything I'd gone through with my mom and my family, and it was so devastating that I had to, embrace my time now.
Right.
So I met with casting directors. I was told I was leading lady material. I was told that I had a part on Beverly Hills 90210, the original. I'm that old.
You were 20 at the time, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So it was like 1990 something. Anyway,
93.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. It was a bit earlier.
Okay. They all graduated in 1993, though, because I graduated high school in 1993, and I can remember feeling so a part of 90210. I think
I know. I loved it. Yeah, I loved it.
That's hilarious.
So I had all these, you're going to be playing an exchange student on 90210, and, we'll be earthquake buddies with the casting directors. And I'm like, what's an earthquake buddy? What have I got myself into? And agents and everything was good. Everything was good. And I went and I bought a car. I was really excited because I could get a convertible. And, it was a used car. So, but that didn't matter to me. I was like, this is awesome. I've got a car. So I'd had it for about a week. And I went to get a friend of mine who was coming over that night to watch movies. And we went to get takeout and everything. And, her and her family were like, oh my God, this car is amazing, Lou. It was a Ford Mustang convertible. It was an 80 something. Anyway, 89, I think. So it was a Monday night. I picked her up. And that's all I remember. I woke up 10 days later in the intensive care unit at Cedars-Sinai. My best friend was sitting on a chair reading a book that I knew was one of my books for some reason. And I woke up and I turned and looked at her and I said, you could at least read me the dirty bits. And she screamed and threw the book and was like, oh my God, she's awake, and went running out there. And then my dad came running in and all these doctors. And the weirdest thing is I didn't ask them why they were there. I didn't ask them what had happened. I dreamt about the car accident the night before it happened. Oh, I had a car accident, sorry.
Oh,
Yeah, I woke up 10 days later because I was in a car accident.
yes.
So basically, a retired doctor who was 78 years old was driving on the wrong side of the road. And I was on my road. I was on a road called Doheny, and I lived like 2 blocks away. And he was driving on the wrong side of the road, a big American car. I had the roof down. He hit me head on, even though I tried to avoid him. And I shot out of the seat into the corner of the windshield. And so it smashed every bone in the left side of my face, pushed my left eye into the back of my head, chopped off the front of my brain on the left. So I lost my front left lobe and a little bit on the right. But this really isn't, it happened a long time ago, and I've talked about it a lot, and I don't have a problem talking about it. But for me now, it's more about what I discovered about myself, what I discovered about other people, and what I discovered about my purpose. It wasn't, it's interesting that, we are so stuck on going this way that when something happens that can steer us the other way, we freak out. Like, what? Okay, hang on. Okay, I have no idea what to do, rather than just accepting and adjusting, because, human beings are very adjustable. So yeah, I woke up in the intensive care unit, and my family came running in, and some of my modeling pictures were on the wall, and I asked why they were there, and I was told less antiseptic, when it was actually so the doctors could see what I was supposed to look like. I had tubes coming out of every part of my body. And anyway, I had 11 and a half hours emergency brain surgery the night it happened, the accident happened. And then the day I woke up, I was taken in for a 26-hour reconstructive surgery. So, when I first saw myself in the mirror, it was the day the doctor came in and said, "I've come to take the staples out of your head." I was like, what? And my memory loss as well was 15-second increments. So if somebody told me something, then 15 seconds later, I'd ask them again. Or I'd ask them the same question every 15 seconds. And then I'd get in a complete pickle, because people would be like, "Lou, you just asked me this." Yeah, but and it's got better over time. There were a lot of things I was told I would never be able to do. And I told them they were wrong, and I would do it. I couldn't open my left eye. I was told that the muscles were dead in my left eye lid and that it wouldn't open. And I was like, oh, I will open it. I'm an actress. I will open my eye. I have to look good to be on camera. Hadn't seen myself yet before I said that. And then, so I went to look in the mirror this one day, because nobody would give me a mirror before that. And I could tell something was wrong, because people were kind of looking at the floor, or there was just this devastation on their face as they looked at me. And I was like, oh my God, what's going on? Yeah. So my best friend came with me into the bathroom, in my room at the hospital. And I didn't want to look up immediately. I had family on the other side of the door, shut the door. And then I just kind of lifted my head up, and it was, it was like your whole life just devastated right there. Everything familiar was gone. I had no face, it was pretty weird. There's so many things in life you're told could happen, like losing a parent, breaking up with your friend, or, breaking up with a boyfriend, or any of those things. But nobody has ever said anything like, oh, and you could have an accident and lose your whole face and all of your dreams. So, but, it was what it was. So I collapsed on the floor, and my best friend said she couldn't say to me, "It's okay," because it wasn't okay. And she couldn't say it's going to be okay, because she didn't know that. Like, nobody was prepared for this. And so when I looked in that mirror, I was like, oh my God, my face is gone. My career is gone. Everything about my life is gone. What is this? It's so big. It's so big. And one of the other things when I looked in the mirror, I had no hair and this huge scar and all the rest of it. And it made me think about my mum when she lost all her hair, and she used to get so upset about it. And I'd say to Mum, why are you so upset? You're beautiful. We'll get wigs and everything else. And now I got it. And so it was like, that was kind of comforting to me. So in my head, I was like, I get it, Mom, I get it. And then I fell on the floor because I was just devastated, and I was crying. And then I heard my dad on the other side of the door, and he was just like, Louise, and it just killed me to hear that. So as I lay there, I thought, okay, this is huge. You have two choices. One, you let your circumstances define your life now, and you just become a victim, and you just stay here basically on the bathroom floor. There's no point getting up. If you don't want to get up, just stay on the bathroom floor. Nothing will happen. You'll basically just be giving into what's been, put in your life. Or you can go for it and not take, this as a reason to stop living your dream, and do whatever it takes to go for it. Have a sense of humor. Don't put your family through any more pain. They just lost, we just lost our matriarch. There was so much. And I knew that because it was so big, if I made the decision to go for it and have that strength, I couldn't turn my back on that. I had to commit to that decision. And so I was like, okay. And even though I didn't know what that looks like, there's nothing, how people say, live in the moment, all you have is right now. Nothing has ever made me more present than that accident. Wow. Because you can't see 5 minutes. Maybe it was the memory loss that made me present too, because I was just
right. You got 15 seconds, right?
right here. But yeah, it's weird. It was, and I also felt fearless, just like, I'm not afraid of anything, because I realized I couldn't remember this thing I'd been told had happened. And anyway, so I made that decision, and I went out and saw my family and everything. And I didn't tell them, that I had made this, had come to this, but they knew and they could see it. And a lot of times they thought that, I didn't really get it. They were like, you're being very, calm about this. I don't think you really understand the magnitude. And I was like, I do, but I'm not going to, take no for an answer. And even though I saw all of these well-known surgeons to talk about my reconstructive surgery, they all said no, there was nothing they could do. It was too bad. It was really too severe. And I would just look at them and go, okay. And they go, you really should think of another career. I'm so sorry. And I go, don't feel sorry for me. I'm not a victim. I'm a survivor. And it's not you. That's all. I'll find somebody who will do it. And that was, that again, like what I said with what happened when my mom went into the coma, this strength. And then again with this, it's like this strength. And it just didn't feel like me in one way. And then again, it was like, wow, I've been given this incredible opportunity to see what I'm really capable of. And also what people are capable of. I mean, just the things that people would say to me in, friends, and the love, and seeing how that can just fuel you to move forward is crazy and incredible. And love can take you all the way. I don't think I would have had that strength to come out of the bathroom had I not felt all the love around me prior to walking in there. It's huge. It's huge. And I think for anybody that doesn't have that, there are people that can be there for you and love you through that. Yes. Even if they're not your immediate family. A lot of my friends became my family, even my doctors. So it's just about, asking for help. And that used to be really difficult for me to do. And suddenly I'm like disfigured at home, no memory, no vision, like all of these different things. And I'm being forced to ask for help. And, at first I was really like, oh, I can't do it. And it's like, Louise, you don't have a choice. Yeah. Just ask for help. Because what I learned was it's actually not upsetting the other person that you're asking. It makes them feel useful, and it makes them feel good. So you could even ask for help just to give them that gift. If you're getting in your head about it, just change the way you change your mindset around it.
I agree. And I think so many women get stuck on that and we don't ask for help, or we don't feel like we're deserving of help. You know, I got it. I got it all. I can do it. And I know I fall into that trap all the time. And what it does really, though, is it does disconnect us from other people. People
That's
feel
right.
connected when we can be there for each other. I mean,
Right.
you are the perfect example of that. There's just, it builds those connections, whether it's with doctors or friends or whoever. I mean, that's.
And also your friend, the friend that you ask for help might offer you a gem that you can carry through the rest of your life. For example, the first time I went to a store was probably 2 months after the accident. And I was with a friend of mine and it was a Kmart and I was buying some candles, you know, those long glass, they're like 99 cents or whatever. So I had put them all on the cash register and, you know, I had my wig on, I had the eye patch, you know, my face was obviously, anyway. So this woman is standing in front of me and she's waving her arms around. So I said, excuse me, can you just be careful? I've got these glass candles there. And she shot me this look and she screamed at me, you're a monster, you're a freak. You shouldn't be out. You shouldn't be out in public. And I just stood there and I was like, oh my God, because I had been used to, if people said anything to me, it was usually, oh, you're really pretty or something like that. And suddenly it's, you're a monster, you're a freak, you shouldn't be out in public. And my heart, I just, oh my God, it was so painful. I mean, it was, and my friend, she took me took me by the arm and she took me outside and she said, look at me. And I was like, okay. And she said, that was not about you. That was not about you. She doesn't know you. She doesn't know how strong, courageous, funny, and amazing you are, what you've been through. She doesn't know any of that. This is her fear. Do not let her fear dictate how you go through this. And she said, promise me this, Lou. If anybody ever judges you or says anything bad about you or anything, it is not about you. That is about them.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. And you know what? That carried me through the next 12 years of surgeries and you know, abuse and all of that stuff from other people, because I just knew. And so my friends would get really upset, like, don't you speak? Don't you know what she's been through? And I'd be like, it's not about me. Just don't give it that energy. We all have to look after our energy. Don't use it in a way that, you know, isn't necessary. It's like, I don't need it.
So true. I mean, that lady clearly was the monster. It shouldn't be
right.
I mean,
yeah. And God bless her. You know, she didn't know any better.
No.
But so, you know, it's it just is what it is. So anyway, so 12 years and 28 reconstructive surgeries, 3 brain surgeries, 5 eye surgeries, and you know, a lot of gifts along the way. So the whole time I just kept going, I'm doing this because I'm an actress. I'm doing this because I'm an actress. And one of the key things I had to do, and this is for anyone that's going through anything, like, it was really important for me because I knew I was disfigured and it was very uncomfortable to look at. I knew that if I was to shy away from it, or if I was to feel uncomfortable with it, it just makes it worse for other people. But if I have confidence and I don't let this, you know, because the thing is, I look in the mirror and I don't look at all like me, but I feel like me. So I was like, this really is our housing. This is the shell we get put in. And so I thought, well, in order for me to feel really comfortable, I'm going to have to go through everything that I've already been through and make peace with it. Because right now, what I'm looking at in the mirror is all of the pain and everything that I had stored on the inside is now being reflected to me on the outside. And so I, you know, went in to do some really heavy work on myself. And it felt really, really good because I knew none of it defined me. None of that past trauma defined me. None of the accident defines me. What defines me is how I got through it, is how I found the strength, is how I found my purpose, how I choose the friends in my life, how I choose who is in my life. Because when you're in a situation where you really have, you know, these huge odds against you, you have to surround yourself with positive people. You have to surround yourself with any influence that's going to make you feel more powerful and positive. I let myself have 10 minutes a day of self-pity, doubt, fear, anxiety, any of that. If I felt it coming on, I go, right, that's it, get it out, just get it out. 10 minutes, and you have to reset the day and start over, because it was too dangerous for me to go in there. Because if I was to do more than 10 minutes, everything was so overwhelming. It's like, so there were a lot of things with that. And then, after 12 years, I was told I was socially acceptable and I could take the eye patch off. And people thought I would be, rejoicing and excited. But what happens is when you have to rediscover a new identity, that's your new identity. So this was my identity, the girl with the eye patch and, going through all the surgeries. Suddenly you can take the eye patch off because your eye's been brought forward. I'm blind in that eye, but that's nothing. So it's just, then I just didn't know who I was without the patch. So I would find myself just holding my hand, and my boyfriend at the time was like, Lou, you can take your hand away. You don't have anything to hide. And I'm like, no, it's fine. It's fine. Because it made me feel so vulnerable taking the eye patch off. I couldn't celebrate. It was so weird. You would think I'd be like, yes. So then I had to, reinvent that identity and all of these things. So I get a job on a movie. I'm so excited. It's not a big role, but it's fine because it's basically a reward for me to say, you did it and you got this. And so I'm on the set. It's 5 o'clock in the morning. They've done my makeup. And I'm like, that's it? You're not gonna, and they're like, no, you don't need a lot of makeup for your role, blah, blah, blah. And then the lead actor comes into the trailer and he's sitting on my left, which is my bad side. So I can't see him, but I just hear this, oh my God, they've done a number on you. And I turn around and he goes, you look fantastic. Are you in the death scene? And I was just like, oh my God, this isn't gonna work. And at that moment, I just felt just like, I don't want to pretend to be somebody else.
Yeah.
I want to act somebody else when I'm proud of who I am now. And, so I did that job and I did several other jobs, but it didn't have the same fulfillment for me that helping others did, because I wrote a book, a memoir about, going through facial disfigurement and everything that comes with that. And then I set up a charity with my doctor for people going through facial disfigurement for this clinic at UCLA. And so I was talking to families, I was talking to people who were going through, life-altering events. And it gave me, I was excited when I got up in the morning. I think, oh my God, who can I help today? Who can I show that they can do anything they put their mind to? And it was amazing. And it's basically where this career was born, and I would never turn any of it back. It's just something that was incredible. And, people say, well, you're so lucky. You were able to go through all the surgeries because you had a court case and everything else. It's like, yeah, but I didn't have to. I chose to use that money on that because I was so driven by my career. But then I realized that my career, maybe it wasn't about me actually being an actor. Maybe it was about me having that dream, because that dream got me through trauma after trauma after trauma. And had I not been an actress, I don't think I would have fought the way that I did and had the determination that I did to take me through each surgery. But then when it came down to actual crunch time, did I feel comfortable in front of the camera? No. Did I feel comfortable when I was working with others? Absolutely. It was so that's been basically why I am where I am, why I do what I love to do. And I just love it.
I'm just sitting here just memorized. I can just picture how everything is playing out and just feel.
This is how crazy I was. right? Because I lost that front left lobe of my brain, which controls inhibitions, impulse control, responsibility, all those kind of things. So what was I about to tell you? I was about to tell you something. Oh, so I didn't want to waste a day not acting. I've come to Los Angeles to act, so I'm disfigured, right? And I thought, I've got an idea. I know what I could do. So I send agents my headshots, but my regular headshots. So I don't say anything about, oh, by the way, I'm completely facially disfigured now. Send in the headshots and I get some calls from some agents. So I go to meet with this one agent and, I've got the wig, the eye patch. You could clearly say there's a lot of damage. And I walk in and the receptionist kind of looks at me like, are you dropping something off? Like, can I help you? And I said, yeah, I've got an appointment. He's like, oh, and I see him get on the phone. He goes, your 11 o'clock is here. And I don't want to, and I just thought, just don't react. So I go in and the agent's like, oh, hi. And I was like, I know, it doesn't look good, but it will be fixed. But in the meantime, I will be great on Star Trek and horror movies. I want you to use me for those things. And she just looked at me like, are you crazy? I mean, now looking back, I'm like, I can't believe I had the balls to do that. Like, who does that? But that's how dedicated I was to being an actor. It's like, no matter what, use it. Use the eye sticking up there. Use the, it's, but sometimes the packages come, the gifts come in packages we would never have expected. So, yeah.
Exactly. Gosh, usually I'm just full with so much. I'm absorbing so much right now. Your story is fascinating. And there's a million things I could touch on. And one that really kind of sticks out is just, I can picture you can feel when you're in the presence of other people that they're uncomfortable. And that energy, I can see how if you don't emit something different, that is going to become yours.
Right.
And just by you, it's not about, oh, I have to make everybody else feel comfortable so I feel comfortable. It's no. I have this confidence and this is the energy that I'm going to put out.
I have to feel comfortable for you to feel comfortable rather than the other way around. Yeah.
Exactly. And it's and when you put that out there, it's gonna, you're gonna receive it too. I mean, right. it just that I can just, and how it obviously still shows up to this day, and how I can picture you being 20 though. I mean, that's young. And these things clicking in your head that are wise beyond your years and showing up and doing things. And now you look back and you say, man, I had balls, or all this and that. And it's kind of like it's so in you that it's not necessarily probably, I mean, a lot of it was registering just from what you've said, obviously, but there's so much more in there, so many strengths and so many beliefs and so much that just has played out over the years that you look back and think, wow, this got me through this led me to that. The acting put me here, that is so fascinating to me.
And thank you. Yeah. I mean, for anyone that's going through anything, it's like, what did you do? What did you use? How did you do it? I mean, that stuff really gets me going. Like, nothing will make me happy, going to parties, doing this, that, and the other. I get uncomfortable. I have social anxiety, all of those things. But put me on a conversation like with you or somebody else one-on-one where we can have these kind of talks. I love it. I love to get into the nitty-gritty of why we act a certain way, how we can overcome that. What is this challenge in our life for? How magic is our mindset? I mean, our mindsets it's basically our superpower. Because if you have a mindset for miracles, then you manifest miracles. Period. Like, because I knew no matter what, I knew that I would get through this. I knew it. I visualized it. Like every day I would sit there in front of the mirror and I would look at this side. And then obviously I'm blind in that eye, so I couldn't hold it at an angle. And I would accept this side. I had to surrender and accept the situation. Because I think with any situation, the minute you surrender and accept it, you're free.
Yeah.
You're free. Because with every trial that we're given that test of surrender and accept and then live. And then once you do that, you are given the tools. It's like you've taken that energy off it and you're just going with it. And that's basically what we have to do. So I would do the visualization. I just knew, like I knew. I would meditate. I did all these things that I didn't realize had been written in books that were the law of attraction. I didn't know any of that. I was just doing them. And my doctors as well, they go, you shouldn't look like this. You shouldn't be alive. You shouldn't have got to where you got. Louise, it's your mind. It's your mindset. You never gave up. You were always positive. And your sense of humor. I have a really warped sense of humor. And I had to use it. So you can imagine what I would say to people who would come up and say something rude or comment on my eye patch or my wig the things that people say, it's just unbelievable. I'd be like, wow. I go, that's just cruel, Right. And I would just look at them and laugh and go, wow, do you feel good? Does it make you feel good saying that, trying to make somebody else feel miserable? Right. It's just, and then you just learn along the way, like for somebody to say something like that, they're obviously in a lot of pain. Just pray for them. There's all these tools you get along the way, like pray for somebody that's been awful to you. That's a hard one. But just pray for them, and then it goes. So
it's the praying for your enemy, and it's
that's right.
And that is, and you mentioned like the surrendering, like and accepting. It's they are who they are. They say what they say. They do what they do. And I think the moment you can just pray, it just releases. And I always think of the word forgiveness. And for me personally, I think of it's for God. I'm giving it to God for forgiveness. It's for you.
Yeah.
You deal with it. I can't deal with it because when you do, it just kills you.
Right.
Their stuff, their comments, whatever they say, if you deal with their stuff, it's going to bring you right down with them, and you can't. So with your mindset and your transformation, the transformation and the mindset coaching, I'm curious because you have these 12 modules that you take people through. So it's a process, and I'm curious, could you, because I love them. I'm reading through them and fabulous. And there's not a person walking on earth that can't relate to all of it. And we can all use, I think of what our potential is, like what we have within that so many of us never tap into.
Right.
Because of all the self-doubt, the fear, the resentment, which is all that stuff that builds up. And
where does all that come from, though? Where does all that stuff come from?
Exactly.
It comes from other people telling us these things.
And it gets in our mindset. And you mentioned just like the word miracle. And I feel like, number one, it's a miracle we're all alive. If you really even think about how the process of how we get here, it's crazy. Yeah. And I think that dawned on me. I have 4 kids, and it dawned on me a little bit more with each pregnancy. Like, every so often I would stop and think, I wonder what my body's making today. Like, am I making lungs, ears? Like, what's going on in there?
I love that.
It's just kind of crazy. Like, do you ever really stop and think about those things? When you're exhausted and sick, it was like, oh, but that's right. I'm kind of creating this. And then you really look at the miracle of life and what we all have to put out, though. It's like, in how many of us we feel that we're not living up to our potential. We feel that we're not living in that confidence even that you talk about and all of this, but it's so many of us, like you say, it was already in you. You started reading these books and you're like, hey,
we all have it. We all
you have
know
it.
We all have it. It's just that reminder. Yeah.
Yes. And it's why you're here, and you can help people unlock that stuff, because not everybody, it doesn't come natural for everybody. Right. And it's not that, okay, just because you have that innate gift doesn't mean you don't have to work on it. You absolutely do. And you have this gift to help people, and it does fill you with joy. So people coming to you, like, what do these 12 modules look like? Because I don't think there's anybody that doesn't listen to, say, this conversation and think of areas that, okay, this has held me back or whatever. And they were not in this accident. They did not have these brain injuries and, half of their face taken off. They didn't have all of these things, or maybe even not even a significant loss, or we all have our different stuff or lack thereof. There are people who think, I have no reason in life. My life has been so good. I had this great upbringing. I've never had this tragic. And why do I still feel stuck? Why can't I do this? So how do people go through? Talk to us about the modules and the mindset and in this transformation process.
Okay. So first of all, I do one-on-one, right? But and I've done some group, but recently I decided to develop this personal power program for women going through adversity or going through a life-changing event, circumstance, whether it be divorce, moving to another country, because that can be a big too. When I moved from LA to Cincinnati, because my husband's from here, I was in my 40s, and I've never suffered from depression my whole life. I got depressed, and I was like, wow, this is what people talk about. I'm really down.
Yeah, I'm in Michigan. I'm a few hours up. I get it.
And you know what? After a few months of lying in bed being depressed, I had to come to that place of, okay, if you don't surrender and accept this, you're just wasting your life away. So then I surrender and I accept the circumstance. I get up and I get going, and I get the lead in a movie. Out of nowhere, moving to Cincinnati from Los Angeles, where that had been so that was weird. I was like, all right, God, I get it. There's some like little messages here. But anyway, so the personal power program is it's a 3-month course. And it goes through all of the ways, basically what your circumstance is now, what it is that you're stuck at. So why do you feel stuck? Where does that come from? What are the old stories that you've been told? What are the old stories that are in your subconscious that you think are real? Maybe you've even been through situations where you got scared. And so now, you're like, for instance, my husband's default is anxiety. So the first one is really going through everything, like what's going on? Yes. What are you struggling with? What do you want your life to be? Do you know what it is? Do you know your true purpose? Like, because I thought my true purpose was acting, but maybe it's not that, Anyway,
exactly. Sorry. And I think even with that, like you thought your true purpose was acting, and it wasn't, but you had to go through that to figure it out. But I even feel like so many people, we don't even slow down long enough to ask ourselves, what is it that I truly, truly want? Just to sit down and really be clear on that, because we think we know, but do we really? And really question. I think I know, but is that true? And we can change our minds as we grow. And sometimes we think we're stuck back on, this is what I've always wanted, but is it what you want now? Anyway, so module 2, then, the outcome, it's, overcoming yourself, your limiting beliefs and all these blocks, but it's seeing what's been holding you back and why, embracing your individuality, feeling a new sense of positivity and purpose, replacing those limiting beliefs with stories that make you feel good, inspired, strong, and make you excited about your potential. I think that is so important. What a gift we can give ourselves. So important. And also it's with the outcome, with your new discoveries, it's having the confidence to go after your dreams and goals and see that you have limitless opportunities to go after, with the tools in place, because that is the thing. We place so many limits on us. And I think we do it so much, we don't even understand the limits that we truly have. We need help identifying those, because so many times people can see what we can't in us. But just a little bit further description. I like this. This hits home to so many people. It says, for a long time, you believed what you were told as a child by your parents, a teacher, friends, or family members. Maybe you were told your dreams were too big and to be realistic. Money doesn't grow on trees, or it's the root of all evil. You've been laughed at for your dreams, told you're not good enough, basically anything negative or inhibiting. You could have been ridiculed as a teen or an adult by friends, a partner, work colleagues, or again by family members. And I even want to add to that just society. I mean, with social media,
oh wow, you're right.
It's like a constant. Am I doing this right? Am I doing that wrong? This says this. I mean, it's just ugh. It's those voices that have put those stories into your head, and they're not true. Self-limiting beliefs don't have to hold you back anymore. And yeah, you kind of go on about just dissecting those things and discarding. And I think we are just so full of that, but we're not even aware how that is dictating our lives. It's dictating our thoughts, our behavior, our action, our mood, our attitude, just the tone of our voice. It's that energy is constantly.
And I think it's so important to give yourself the gift of your own voice.
Yeah.
You know, your own beliefs, your own limits, because we are limitless. And you know, I did a meditation course at the Psychic Institute because I saw these psychics and they'd always say, why are you seeing me? You have this. And I go, no, I don't. Okay. Even though I'd seen things as a kid, I'd sleep with the TV on. So a friend of mine says, oh, do a meditation course at the Psychic Institute. So I go and do this course, and they didn't tell me that meditation basically was like 3 hours a night. It basically is the quickest way for you to get rid of all of the crap that you no longer need in your life. It's a way to process things and then get clear. And you're in touch with your higher self, I believe. So I was doing this, and then suddenly I'd hear, like, in the middle of the night, hello. I'm like, no, can't do this. Yeah. So I said to my teacher, I was like, what's going on? I'm getting visitors talking to me, blah, blah. He's like, well, that's because you're very gifted. And I was like, well, I don't want to be very gifted. I don't want to hear people in the middle of the night. So I tried to shut it down, but I bring it to my coaching as well. So if somebody wants me to do intuitive work with them, I mean, I do anyway, but like to read cards or anything like that, I do that. But I just think that with the meditation, the reason that's really powerful as well is if you're somebody that's into manifesting, having that mindset comes through the meditation too. Yeah. And things started happening that were crazy. I would think something and it would happen. So for example, about last year, or about when we were all in COVID, a group of us would have a Zoom call. They were in LA and everything. We'd have a Zoom call and we would all talk about what's going on. And I said something and one of the girls goes, oh my God, mic drop. Lou just did a TED talk. And I was like, oh, don't, that's my dream. So I turn off Zoom after the call and I'm like, oh, could you imagine? And I go through the whole thing with that. I'm like, I'm on stage, and I've spoken around the world, but there's nothing like a TED talk. Yeah. I'm not joking. 2 weeks later, I get an email from TED asking me to do a TED talk. I have no idea how they knew my story. I have no idea how they got my email, nothing. And I was just like, and it's just another, and it's happened to me before with something else. I was with the charity one day and the board, and they all go, oh God, she'd be so good on Oprah. And I was like, don't do that. Don't, that's been my dream forever. Just don't. Yeah. And they were like, well, you would. Anyway, I get home, the phone rings, I pick it up. Oh, it's Louise Ashby that you're speaking. God, you're a difficult woman to get hold of. I go, who is this? She goes, says her name from the Oprah show. And I go, yeah, right. Funny. And start like, and it was. So they wanted me to, to come on Oprah. And this is the reason I'm telling this story is because it's an example of the mindset, right? So my mindset was so positive, and then doubt crawled in. I was like, oh, they're not going to use me. They're not going to use me. Something's going to happen. It's too good. It's too good. Fly to Chicago. They come to LA. They film at the clinic and everything with the kids. I fly to Chicago and they call me 10 minutes before I'm going on to get picked up to go on the show, saying, don't you have any pictures of yourself in the car? And this is too horrendous. You look too good, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, but the x-ray show, I've only got half a skull. And they're like, no, you have to be visibly shocking. So I put it down to, A, the universe didn't feel I was ready. And B, I talked myself out of it. I kept saying to the universe, I'm not going to, it's basically like your computer drive. You're saying, make sure I don't get it. Order, make sure I don't get it. So
that's self-doubt.
Self-doubt.
It is,
where does that come from?
Yeah. But I think, there's a lot to be said though, when you recognize the self-doubt, when it shows up in the moment, because I don't think there's a day that goes by that every single person on earth doesn't have a thought of self-doubt.
Right.
But recognizing it and being like, oh, there it is. And right. I don't care. Well, I don't care if this sounds kooky. I talk back to it. And there you are.
Right.
And
you have to.
It's like, but knowing that, okay, this is what it is. It's that self-doubt. And I know what it's trying to do. It's there because I'm scared. I'm scared of something. And what is it I'm scared about? And what's the worst that can happen? And I go through all this and just talk it out at me, and I think it's so much of that ego that shows up,
Right. Right.
The fear of imposter syndrome and the fraud, like I'm this and I'm that. And that's just, it's all BS.
Yeah,
but
it is.
It lacks us because it gets in our head. If we let it'll consume us, and it consumes so many people.
I always put like an imaginary dragon or something on my shoulder. So when those voices come in, I'm like, okay, thank you. Like sometimes you just do a visual or a broomstick. I tell my clients, visualize putting the broomstick outside your door, because that's the stick you're beating yourself up with. It doesn't have a home in here. Put it like visually take it, put it outside, shut the door and walk in and go, you're out there, I'm in here.
I love that. I think it helps to have those little visuals like that we can all just quick go to. And okay, here it is. But even just being aware of it though, like here it is, here's what I'm going to do. And it's going to pop up again. Yeah. Like that always does. Okay. So module 3. So this is our 3rd week.
Okay.
You're so healthy. But this is where you really start to get into the mindset, the motivation, and the momentum. And it's, just setting these daily intentions and knowing which tools, exercise, and daily practices to use to develop a strong mindset, having emotional support and encouragement. These are things we all just need. And these are gifts to give to ourselves.
Yeah, big time.
To feel inspired and motivated, knowing that if you start wavering, you have the tools to combat those things. It's like when the self-doubt comes in, I'm going to put the stick outside. Why?
But that's what's really important. It's like we can break ourselves down, do all this work, but if we don't know what tools to use when these things come up, what's the point?
True. It's so true. So true. And so many of us, we just don't know the tools, and we have it all inside of us. It's just unlocking that. And I always say, like with coaching all the time, I don't have your answers. You do. And this is
Give
what
the
it
nudge.
does.
Yeah.
Yes. It helps you unlock what's in you, because it has to be you. Right.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. And just starting again to see what holds you back and how to spot it. Yep. Spot all the triggers, so you can experience freedom from them. You'll have the energy to achieve your goals and dreams, because we do beat ourselves down. It's us beating ourselves down. I know those days it's like we feel burnt out, we feel drained, we feel exhausted. Well, it's because we have beat ourselves down. And
right.
And I love this. And and this is in here too, but just realizing that your mindset is your superpower. It truly is. Fear of confrontation or rejection can affect our relationships with family, friends, coworkers, partners, and most of all, the relationship we have with ourselves. That's like my biggest thing, is improving the relationship you have with yourself. And you will improve every relationship you have. And I'm not even talking about our physical relationships or, with physical people, with people. Absolutely, it's going to improve every single one of those relationships. But I think it is your relationship with, obviously like your self-image, but your relationship with food, your relationship with money, your relationship with exercise, your relationship with rest. It's these, we have a relationship. If you think of life as a relationship to everything, and when you improve the one relationship with yourself, every single one of those relationships improve.
I never used to understand why people would go, you can't be in love if you don't love yourself. I'd be like, what are they talking about? But it's true. Unless you give it to yourself and you really love yourself, you're not giving yourself the best of what you can.
Right. Well, and it even makes me think again of the lady in, standing in line, how she you're a monster, you shouldn't even be out, or things like that. It's like, right then and there what is inside of her. She can't give out any love, any compassion, any kindness to you.
That's right.
Because she cannot give to herself. There is, and to be able to have that discernment or that knowledge to know they are being cruel, they are being critical, they're shaming, because that is what they are doing to themselves. It's what they are full of. And it's,
how many times, yeah. And how many times have you heard somebody say, if something happens to them that's really big, they'll go, God, I must have been a really awful person in a past life, or I deserve this. No, you don't.
No,
you don't deserve, this isn't happening because you deserve it. It's happening, but let's get you to a place where you see what you really deserve, because you're thinking for some reason that that's what you deserve. Why would you think that? And all of us do, when things like that, we're like, oh, I probably did something wrong, or, it's not always about that.
No, and I agree. And I think a lot of times that's that difference between the shame and the guilt. Like, oh, I deserve this because I'm such a bad person. That's just shame, and it's, people talk about like the fate and karma and this and that. I mean, it's, let that stuff go. And,
you're not punishable. You don't need to be punished. But let's find out why you think that, so that you don't, because sometimes, well, I know a lot of times something that people say, oh, it happened to me. Or did it happen for you? Did it happen to you, or did it happen for you? So, when somebody will say to me something like, oh, do you hate the guy that hit you? No, it was an accident. It was an accident. I held the door open for him when our deposition, and my lawyer was really upset. But it's like, he's 78 years old. He did not drive into my car on purpose. The guy looked at me when I opened the door and started crying. It's like, it's an accident. It's okay. What can we do?
Right. And by punishing him, what's that going to do to help you?
Exactly. Or to help anybody.
It's just, think if you had went that route,
I wouldn't be where I am today.
To this day, absolutely. You would be stuck back then, being the victim, punishing him, punishing yourself, and you would not be where you are today. You wouldn't feel the joy, and you wouldn't be able to help other people.
Right.
Did it happen to you or for you? I mean, that is the most beautiful example.
Yeah, I love that. I learned that a few years ago. I love that one.
It is just such a good reminder. But I just, even in the whole, the communication just with your self-worth too. I mean, I think that just scenario plays out beautifully in that. I'm going to go through, because, oh my gosh, there's lots of modules. Module 5, it's embracing the challenges as opportunities, which your life speaks it. I mean, really, I do want to read this, your little description. Throughout our lives, we're inevitably faced with small challenges to overcome. And then there are the really big ones that challenge us in ways we couldn't imagine. We can feel paralyzed with fear, question our identity, our lives, and or our purpose, and if we have what it takes to get to a place where we are happy again. What if you knew of a way where you could see the challenges as opportunities? Happens for you, right? Not to you.
Yeah.
You could stay present to those feelings and not hold them back. What if this challenge happened for a reason that you may not know now or for a while? It's just, again, and I love that you get question marks after all of this. Just be curious and ask ourselves, are you ready to see the unbelievable gifts that you didn't know you had? Because these gifts were in you, and boy, this brought it out.
Crazy.
Yes.
And everyone has them.
Everyone has them. And can you imagine a world if we all actually dove in and really used them?
Oh my goodness. I mean, it's sad that we don't.
Yeah.
It's sad that we come here and we don't realize our full potential, or, it's that reminder that every single one of us is unique. Yeah. We're all completely unique and individual, which means we all have something unique and individual to offer. Like so many people now will say, oh, yeah, I want to be a coach, but there's so many coaches now. It's like, there's so many doctors. There's so many this, there's so many that. Doesn't make any difference. You're unique. You have something to offer that somebody else won't have to offer. The right people will be brought to you. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, that is so true. Just this interview. I think
Right.
that like, I mean, just before well, maybe it was during the record. I can't remember if it was before or before we hit record or not. I said that just in these last like month or two or just over, the interviews and the people that are coming into my life,
Yes,
personally, professionally, relationally, just it's crazy when you just allow it and look for it and expect it and receive it.
That's it. If you expect it, it comes.
Yeah. And
So
stop.
if you're expecting the other shoe to drop, that will happen. That's what happened to me on that show. But if you just expect it and then just take it and go, thank you, next, thank you, and you just stay in that, then it just,
stay in that. So the next module, we're 6 weeks in now, right?
Okay, right. So you're getting healthy.
We're getting healthy. And now we're going to set some goals and create a design for living, where this, I think, is just the fun part, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like this. What if you discovered that there is a right way and a wrong way to set your goals? What if you were to have a coach who could show you the way to do it so that you actually achieve them? You could have more time, energy, focus, and freedom, which will bring feelings of self-respect, passion, potential, and joy. Who doesn't want that? You will know how to celebrate every win, big or small. After all, it's important to enjoy the process along the way to the destination. We live in a society of instant gratification when we want to skip over that. And we all fall into that trap. I catch myself there. Enjoy the journey. It's one step at a time. Just enjoy right here, right now, because the thing is you're going to get there. It's going to get done. And then on to the next, and you're never going to feel the joy. You're never going to feel the fulfillment. You're always
and the gifts along the way, the lessons along the way that you've learned about yourself.
Right. It's never going to feel like enough. It's like, when is enough enough? The present tense, right now, enjoying right now.
That's it.
And you know, and here's I have to go back up to the outcome on this one, but I just love this because there's no one out there that doesn't want these things. You'll be focused, organized, have purpose and direction. You'll know what the next steps are. You'll no longer feel overwhelmed. You will feel positive about your outcomes, know firsthand what needs to change, delete, or keep, because that can be confusing. And we don't quiet ourselves to just stop and be in the present. To be happier, have more time, self-respect, honor yourself. And just be in a position, I like this, to actually achieve your goals. And in turn, make new ones. It's, module 7, time management and productivity. We all need that because our to-do list, and that's another thing. Do you ever just sit down and write a to-do list and write a few things on there that you've already done just so you can cross them off? I do. Makes me feel accomplished, right? But I even have stopped doing that because I'm like, and this is a question I picked up from just coaches and books. And I ask myself this a lot to get myself to slow down and just relax and be. And the question is, who am I when I'm not producing, when I'm not being productive? And I've really started to just reframe it as, I am so incredibly productive when I am sitting down and just visioning and dreaming about what I want my life to look like, what I want it to feel like, because that is creating your plan. That is creating what your life wants to look like, because y'all think we might know, because you're comparing yourself to who, that's what I want. Is it really?
So I had a client in LA and her mom sent her to me. She was 18 and she said, okay, she's in accounting school. She's saying she's not happy and she wants to leave. I need you to keep her in accounting school. So please coach her through whatever it is that's making her miserable so she finishes accounting school. And I was like, okay. So she comes to see me and this poor girl, she's miserable. She doesn't want to get out of bed in the morning. She doesn't want to go to the gym. She hates numbers, although she's really good at it, blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, what would you be doing if you didn't do this? Like, what's your passion? I don't know. I don't know what I'd be doing. Okay, well, let's do a vision board. So we did a vision board together, and everything on that vision board was fashion. And I looked at her and I go, this is not an accountant's vision board at all. This is a creative's vision board. This is somebody who loves fashion. She goes, yeah, but I can't be a fashion designer. And I said, there's so many more things about fashion that aren't to do with just fashion designing. You could do costume for sets, for film. Like, there's so many different things. And she was like, but, and then she got really excited. And I saw it in her eyes, the excitement. She's like, oh my God, I would love that. What do? I need to go to college. So I called FIDM, the design college in Los Angeles downtown. I spoke to them. She was next to me. We found out everything that she needed to submit, like the project she needed to submit and everything. I helped her submit them. Her mom probably hates me. I helped her submit them. She got in, and she's now in the fashion world. She's now an influencer doing really, really well. And she sends me these messages saying, thank you so much. You changed my life. And it's like, I didn't change your life. You changed your life. I nudged you in the right direction to bring it out of you. And that is why we coach, right? Because you get to see that person's life completely change to one that they're really happy about, one that they have the confidence to say, this is what I want and I'm going to do this because somebody heard them. They feel seen by somebody.
I love that story for so many reasons, and I could go on about the mother, but it's kind of comical how she was the one that brought her daughter to you, and then look what happened. That not exactly mom's plan, right?
Right. But now she's like, oh, thank you, you know.
Right. Which again, which is beautiful because it probably unlocked so much in that mom, because obviously there's some controlling there, but it's based on a fear. You know, it comes from a place of love for her daughter. She had obviously some fears about her daughter not being in accounting or not being safe, you know, not in.
Right.
I can only imagine how it's probably inspired her mom to grow though, too.
And improved their relationship because
Absolutely.
her daughter's happy rather than, you know, sad and resentful and everything else. Yeah.
And you know, the word comes up again that we spoke on earlier is that surrender. It's
exactly
control, giving your adult daughter some freedom, you know. And I think just with the ages of my kids too, that's been in my head a lot lately too, because it is easy as a parent to turn into controlling, because I mean, it is our job to keep them safe. It is our job to keep them alive. It is, we want what's best for them. However, if we don't recognize what our own fears are, that can quickly turn into controlling, and it's a slippery slope. And we don't even, it's not just like parents do it to kids. I mean, it's all around the world. We do it
everywhere. Yeah. Husbands to wives, friends, parents, everybody.
Yeah. Surrender and let people be. And it's just, it's so freeing. But I think of how to, every time I feel drained, exhausted, and depleted, that is one of the things I remind myself of. What am I trying to control? Oh, everybody else and the outcomes of this, their emotions and this, and I'm trying to fix this person, save that. It's like,
right.
And let them be, you know, truly.
Right.
We're all works in progress. So we are rocking it right now because we're in module 8 with you. And this one I love, the wellness and mindfulness. I'm all about mind, body, spirit. And I like this. Have you ever asked yourself why you don't feel your best? Or have you let anxiety and overwhelm run your life? Again, I'm vulnerable. I'm going to admit that one. I have done that.
Me too.
A lot. The overwhelm and anxiety. If you knew there was another way to live where you had the tools to take care of both your body and your mind, would you want to know what they are? Yes, absolutely. If you knew that these tools would enhance your life so that you no longer had to feel hopeless in the face of adversity, would you use them? When was the last time you felt empowered, present, and in line with your truth? I think a lot of us don't even know what our truth is anymore, Louise. Anyway, and that's what you help. That's what you help people do, right?
that's where meditation comes into. I'm also a
Mhm.
certified hypnotist, so I can, do hypnosis. I mean, there's just, you know, again, we're all unique. We can do anything, absolutely anything.
I want to say something that's helped me. And this is just honestly, I've had a really hard time with the meditation thing. And I've tried it over and over throughout the years. And again, I sit down and it's funny that, the anxiety and the overwhelm kicks in. I should be doing something else. My mind is racing. I got to do this. I got to do that. I'm not doing this right. Blah, blah, blah. One of the things that has helped me, because I've really been practicing it lately and it feels so good. And I'm like, I'm getting it. Here's what I have coined it. Maybe I shouldn't say this. Maybe I need to write a book first. No, I coin it. I have to trademark this. No, I have started labeling it in my head because it helps me. Instead of meditation, it's R&R. And you know what it is? It's reject and receive. And what I do is
like
that self-doubt or the anxiety or the overwhelm. When those feelings come into my body or those thoughts come into my body, I'm instantly like, I'm rejecting that. And instead, I'm going to receive peace. I'm going to receive love. Like whatever it is that I'm feeling, this is what I want to receive. This is what I want to allow in, because I've also turned like that whole meditation thing into is like when you pray, you're sending out what you want. And when you meditate,
you're getting the answers.
It's receiving it. It's allowing it in, because how many of us, decades worth, I can totally attest to, like you're constantly praying, I want this, I want this, but yet you're not slowing down enough to receive how you're
the signs.
Manifest that. It's not going to show up. I can even remember when my kids were real little and stuff, and everybody says it takes a village to raise a family or to raise kids. And I can remember being so mad, like, well, where's my village? It's like, what was I expecting? They're going to show up, just knock on our door like a choir or, carolers, like, here we are. What do you need? No,
right.
You kind of have to go ask for it.
Right.
And it's when you're putting that something out there, I want help with this. I need this person in my life, this is all these things that I want. Okay. So then what are you doing to stop? And things come up, like a light bulb will come on about maybe I need to research this, or this friend pops into your head, or it's all out there. And if you just look for the signs and receive it.
Totally. And I have this thing where I'll ask the universe, like at night, I'll say, if I'm doing the right thing, show me a sign tomorrow. Or I don't know what to do next. Show me a sign of what I need to do next. And every single time I get the answer, but you have to be present enough to see the signs.
Mm-hmm.
Last night, my husband was struggling with a work issue. And I said to him, honey, I'm telling you, it's going to be okay. I promise you, I feel it. Just do this. I said, please put the problem in your hand, and I want you to visualize giving it to God. Like, this is for you to deal with. I can't deal with it. I don't know what the answer is. I'm giving it to you. And tomorrow you'll see the signs. Don't be so ridiculous, Louise. I was like, do it. I said, because otherwise you're just going to waste this whole night being anxious when tomorrow you could get that call and be told everything's okay. And you spent the whole night wasting, energy that you didn't need to waste.
Yeah.
And so he did it. And this morning, first thing, he gets the call and it's all fine.
And here's the thing about that, because I feel like so many people then use that as an excuse not to do anything. Well, I'm just going to hand it over and everything will just work itself out. Blah, 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 blah. The thing about it is it's handing it over, but then it's going to come to you. Like there is going to be action.
Oh, you have to
on
take
your
action.
part.
Yeah.
But it will come to you what that needs to be.
What that action. Yeah, exactly.
Like receiving that phone call that comes in and receiving and taking that advice, or there's going to be something that follows and tells you what to do. But first you have to, just kind of surrender. And it's that clearing of the mind to allow what's trying to come in, because it's like, and I have told myself this a lot lately too, stop trying to do stuff in my own strength.
Right.
Trust what's out there. And that builds your own self-trust. And it's hard to do. It's that we have like such a tight grip on that.
But if you're meditating, I don't know if you've ever tried. So what used to help me was visualizing my higher power, like me as up there, the one who knows everything, blah, 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 my higher self. And I would visualize the cord between me and my higher self. And so I would literally just be giving it, like closing my eyes and like, just tell me, just show me, tell me what I need to hear, and just getting very silent. And so because what you were saying about your mind, you go asking, oh, I should be doing this, I should be doing that. It's like not judging yourself for that. Just going, okay, thank you. And then getting back into, so if you breathe in for 3 through your nose and breathe out for 3 through your mouth, and you're just focusing on the breath, that can help too with the focus. There's the candle meditation where you're just staring into the flame. That brings up a lot because you're staring. So all the darkness, everything that's heavy that you're carrying, just, I mean, I just cry when I do that. But there's lots of different ways. It's just about not judging if you're doing it right or wrong, because there's no right or wrong. Some people, their walk is their meditation. You know, there's so many different things.
Exactly. And that's the thing. I think I'm glad you said that, because it doesn't have to mean you're sitting on the floor cross-legged with your hands, you know, open,
sitting next to Buddha.
It could just be wherever you are. You're at your desk, you're in your car, you're out for a walk. It doesn't matter where you are. It's just opening those channels, letting stuff go, and opening yourself up to receive and I think the thing is about it too, is that mindset of, the world isn't against you. The world is for you. If you will open up and allow it in. We're the ones with the defense, you know, our guards up and this wall that doesn't allow that stuff in. Just yesterday, I was, I just noticed how I was just having a moment, and I thought, okay, I need a break from what I'm doing. And the second I was like, I knew I needed a break, because I will be that type, just forge on, just keep going. You know, I'll deal with feeling overwhelmed when I'm done doing this. Duh, you know, it's creating more overwhelm or whatever. So I knew I need a break right now. And the second I said that to myself, ding, this email popped up from someone that I'm working with. And there was all these links. And one of them was like this breath work and how to stimulate your vagus nerve and this and that. And I had a million things to do, and I'm looking at the clock and I need to get it done. And I knew right then and there, stop. When I was outside working, I laid down and I hit play on that little video, and I took it was less than 10 minutes in that time to do the whole breath work and do all of that. And I'm like, I'm 48. Why has it taken me this long to just give myself that gift?
And some people never get it. That's the sad thing. Like, it's awesome. I'm so happy.
And if it's a productivity thing that we're worried about, because so many of us are, you know, I got to do more, be more, go, 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 go. And it's if you would just stop, and there's so much great in that. It's not like, oh, this is a free ticket to just sit around and, you know, be lazy and do nothing with your life all day long. And but when you just take those few minutes and just slow down and breathe and receive, you are instantly filled with more energy. You use your time wisely. You actually are more productive because you're doing the things that actually produce what fulfills you, like what needs to really be done, instead of a bunch of just, I don't even know, you know, if you want to call it unproductive busy work, but it's like all that.
No. I remember years ago speaking to a mentor, and I was like, you so productive, had my list. Oh my God, I haven't got time to do this. And I'm freaking out, and I'm speaking to her on the phone. I was like, I've got to go. I've got so much to do. I'm so anxious. I'm so stressed. She goes, why don't you do this? And I go, what? And she goes, you love baths, right? And I was like, yeah. She says, go and have a bath. Go and take a break. Have a 20-minute bath. Light a candle, have a bath. I go, did you not hear what I was just telling you? I've got to do this. This isn't. Why am I going to take a bath? That's just going to delay me even more. She goes, trust me. So I did it. I took the bath. I got more done that day because I had actually, what you just said, like, stop, take a minute.
Stop. And it's those one word little things that you know, phrases that we need to start saying to ourselves more often. It's when you're in that stop.
That's right. Yeah.
Breathe. Just these one word things.
Yeah.
Get us back on track. I mean, it's so true. So from there, I got to get back to this. I love this. And I know, speaking of, because I always say these long interviews, you know, I don't even care. If it takes someone 3-4 days to get through this episode, hey, okay. 9 weeks. I like this. The building healthy habits and resilience. Resilience is such a big word because it's not necessarily, and it's hard. And I think we can't always take our words so literal all the time, but I think we use overcome too much. You don't really ever truly overcome anything. I mean, it's not like, oh, I have this anxiety, overwhelm, self-doubt, frustration, all this kind of stuff. I'm going to overcome it and never feel it again. That's just not true.
Right.
Of course you will, but you build more resilience to it. So when you start to feel the anxiety or the overwhelm or whatever it is that you feel, you don't spiral down and get stuck there and have it just poof, there goes everything out the window. It's
right.
Recognize, here's where I am right now, but I have some tools that I can put into place. It's just becoming more resilient. And it takes more and more to get to that point of saving.
Where it becomes habitual too. Then you know to go directly, and so then it becomes less and less that you'll feel that overwhelm.
And all of a sudden it's like, wow, I don't feel this much anymore. Oh, it's because I'm doing this, I'm practicing this, I'm doing these things. But in just even saying that, I love your descriptions. Are you someone that finds it difficult to put yourself first? Do you think by doing so you're being selfish? I could go on for hours about that. Oh, how many good habits can you say you have? And are they the ones you use daily, monthly, or not enough? In order to have the ability to overcome the challenges in our lives, we must first recognize that we are worth it. Without healthy habits and daily practices, you are resigning yourself to your circumstances and thus getting stuck. Yeah, we all have circumstances. That's life, but we don't have to resign to them. I just love that. Getting stuck, depressed, and in lack. We have way too much lack mindset, for sure. Wouldn't you rather give yourself the edge and take control of how you're choosing to see these circumstances instead of allowing circumstances to have control over your life? Because it's not about just, oh, I just want to erase these circumstances, because that's what I think we all do. If this wasn't happening out there, then I wouldn't feel this. Well, that's just, you're going to live like that.
Don't be a victim of your circumstances, basically. Yeah,
exactly. Because there's always circumstances.
Always.
And I like that you brought up the word courage. Find your courage, because it takes courage to be like, because when you're a victim, you are just those are your fears. I'm just going to continue to let all those circumstances keep me afraid. And it's the courage,
and being a victim is the easy way out, to be honest. It's like, oh, well, this is huge. I'm done.
Yeah. And I think I do want to say this because this comes up a lot, because it's not like we're all victims. We're victims to everything all day long. I mean, that's not the real issue, because let's say you were mistreated, you were abused, you were in an accident, you were a victim. Acknowledge that I was a victim, but it is a choice to live in victimhood. It's a
survivor. Or the survivor.
Survivor. Yes. And there's nothing wrong with saying, oh, I was a victim to a car accident. Well, you were. It was a fact. But it doesn't mean that I have to live in a mindset of victimhood and keep me back there.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that is
absolutely.
The difference.
And that's a lot of people that I see. That's the thing. It's like, you're not a victim. Yeah, you're going through this, or for whatever reason, you've gone through this, you're stuck or whatever. I'm just here to help you, to show you who you really are, what you really can do. And I think there's too few of us that really know that really have somebody say, being our cheerleader, saying, you're amazing. Like this has been given to you as an opportunity for you to show yourself how incredible you are. If you don't follow that path of discovery, then you're cheating yourself out of that gift of how incredible you are.
Yeah. And I think too, it just, if anything, I mean, it inspires you to be around people that all empower each other to bring all of what you already are out of you.
Right.
Because there is so much more in all of us.
That's true. Yeah.
I mean,
and not being afraid to be who you are.
Yeah.
Right. So many people, if I show everybody, if I live to my full, then I'm basically putting everybody there in the corner and they just don't know what to do with all of me. So I'll just make myself really small. And it's like, no, be who you are.
Yeah. It's so true. Well, I even, it's kind of funny because when I look back and I just, even with the podcast, Authentically Raw, and I always say, be real, be raw, be your, all that, like be authentic. And it's that same thing of where did all that really come from? And as I go through the podcast, I'm still evolving into that because it is those things that I look back on, and there wasn't a ton of thought on it. It just came out and I went with it. And I feel like now I'm actually starting to really, truly live it and practice it. So it's crazy. It's just,
no, I mean, and you did the right thing. It's like the idea came to you and you just took action. It's like you have 5 seconds to take action, right? To go, okay, I'll do it. Yes. I like to say there's like these angels flying around with ideas, and they go, okay, this one should have this idea because they know what to do with it. They have the tools to do something with it. And then they throw it. And a lot of times we go, oh, this is for somebody else. I had this idea, but it's probably too stupid. No, you were given that because you do have what it takes to do that. Now let's do it.
Well, and that's the thing, and do it. And then if it doesn't work out, now
it could lead you to something else.
I'll go do something else. But how many of us just stop there and then, if I do it though, and it doesn't work, I'm a failure. Okay. Yeah. It doesn't work. And you failed at that. And what? So what? So do something different. Right. I'm like, that's how you learn. So then 10th one, creativity and innovation. And I like this because so many people just think of creativity as, an artist or a writer or a crafter or things like that. And it's so untrue. I mean, creativity and innovation and our imagination, and my kids are probably so sick of me hounding this into them, but I'm, every time I look and I see them on screens, it's like, put that thing down, use your imagination. You're not using your brain,
Yeah.
It's just, I'm going to read this first before I go on with that. Creativity and innovation aren't only used for art. Did you know that they are used to help overcome pain, fear, and anxiety? And I love that you said that, because immediately when I read that, I'm like, yes, yes, yes. And how many of us numb ourselves out on social media, TV, Netflix, video games, all of that stuff.
Yep.
Not only does it stifle like your imagination and your creation, but the thing I think about that is like, of course you cannot put that just like on art and things like that. Your creativity of your own life. Like how are you creating? What in your life are you creating? Like you need an imagination to design and create your own life.
Right.
And, and you need that to overcome the fear, the pain, and the anxiety, because we all have fears. Most of us don't even know the fears we have, but you see it in everybody's life of where it blocks them. And these pains and these anxiety, we all have it. And if you're, I'm going to stop there. I got to read more.
Just one quickly. So everybody responds to things in a different way. So some people like to read about it. Some people like to look at pictures, and some people want to heal by doing something creative to heal, whether it's, drawing pictures of, a picture of you as a child and all the different things, writing all the different thoughts that would come out of your head, and then who you are now. There's just so many different ways to do things.
Yeah. I even thought of axe throwing. Don't even ask where that came up from. I have no idea. But it's just find your thing. There's someone out there listening that needs axe throwing, right? And I just delivered it to them. Module 11, we're getting there. I can already feel us. Look how much we're growing and blossoming, right?
I was going to say, I don't even recognize you right now.
I love it. Okay, so this one, yes, creating a support system and incorporating self-care practices to maintain well-being. And I love there's a lot here that I think, to touch on, and that is just that feeling of well-being, but creating that support system. And I think that comes in so many different areas. And I feel what a gift we can give ourselves to really just reach out and be open and find these support systems, because so many times we go to those immediate people, immediate family or immediate friends that have been in our lives forever. And then I hear this so often, and it takes time to learn this, that sometimes the things that you want support in the most, or encouragement or power, say you have some big accomplishment or big dream. I'm going to use the writing thing as an example, because I've heard so many authors say this. The people that you expect to say support you, read your book, love your book, help you, just like encourage you, often those are the ones that care the least about it and how it can hurt so much. And I feel that is just such a learning curve. There are those people out there. It's not their jam. It's not their thing.
My family haven't read my book.
So
my friends haven't read my book.
No.
My friends, because they can't, and I'm like, what do you mean you haven't read it? And they go, it's too painful. I can't, you wrote a book. I'm proud of you, but I can't.
Exactly. And that's the thing, to where there's so many areas in our life where it's like the people that we expect or really want or think we need to be so happy for this thing that we did, or accept this thing that we did, or approve of what we're doing, they're not going to be. And it holds us back. And
or there's people that you wouldn't expect who show up and you're like, wow.
Exactly. Wow.
Yeah, crazy.
Random people. And I've talked a lot about that to my husband. The people, just little things that I've done over the years where they show up, whether it could be something you accomplished that you're just like, haven't heard that from that person in years. And they were just like, hey, this is super cool. Just wanted to let you know. Or you're going through something terrible, and then this random person, you get a card in the mail that is like, I've heard about what's happening. I'm so sorry. I just want to let you know that I'm thinking of you. And it's like, wow. And those to me it's just that reassurance of who we think we need to support us. That again is the universe saying, no, that's not it.
No, I got this.
Right. It's like, everybody expects it has to be this person in my life, when no, it's not. And you're only setting yourself up for disappointment if you think it is. And whether it's a coach, it's a mentor, it's a friend, it's someone to talk to, we all need that community. And I feel like it's that sense of the word just belonging comes to me, because it's so easy to feel isolated and alone in whatever we're going through. And then we just cut ourselves off from receiving that support. And it is out there. And again, I think it just hits home. It's we're always turning to the same people.
Right.
Stop, especially in this day and age with technology. And the people over the last few years that I've come into contact with, that I've had fabulous conversations with, like with you, the courses that I've taken, just so much of this stuff, it's like Pandora's box out there.
Yeah, it is.
Why do we isolate ourselves and think my parents, my spouse, my kids, my friends, they don't support me? Who cares?
Right.
Who cares? Let them be them.
That's their lives.
Right.
You have your life to run.
Don't support them in the ways they expect or want or think they need you to too. It's a two-way street.
Yeah.
But
I think it's important, like with this 12-week course, is that you're not just going to be left. You know what I mean? If you like, that's why this is where it is now. It's like, okay, so now we've done all this work. Now let's find your resources and support systems. So when something does come up, you know who to go to. So you don't have to go backwards, and I'm all about helping people with the resources, because, a lot of people don't know how to do that. They're too embarrassed so maybe it's like I sit with them while they do it, make the call or whatever. It's just, I think, we guide until we can do it ourselves.
Right. And I think, I compared, where's my village to just like raising kids, but every single person walking on this earth needs a village, and you need different
Yes.
people. I look at just like my friendships, for instance, and I can tell you the most important things that I get from each one and why they're in my life. And that's what I want to draw on. And to know in yourself, there are things, everybody in your life draws on different things out of you, and set people free if they don't give you what you want from them. There is somebody else out there that can do it for you. Why limit? It's you limiting yourself.
Right.
We like to blame it on that other person. And no, it's our problem.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
True. Yeah,
okay.
Totally.
We are just rock stars now. So it's like week 12. And this is, in creating a comprehensive plan for success. And I think, again, so many people will like have a goal. I want to make this amount of money. I want to be in this relationship. I want to live here. I want this job. I want this car. I want this. But there's not, what's the plan? What's the journey? How are you going to live your days that you're actually, again, I don't know the word receive, like you're allowing yourself to open up and work towards receiving all those things. But in getting really clear. And you say, are you stuck, alone, depressed, confused, sad, or scared? I think that's huge. Just identifying those things, because it's all really real stuff, but it doesn't have to keep us, it doesn't have to bind us. I didn't know who I was capable of being until I went through the most unimaginable trauma I could think possible. But what it made me do was make a choice. Was I going to let my circumstances dictate my life, or was I going to dictate my circumstances? Love that. I made the choice, and it was the best thing I ever did. It was from that place that everything became possible. This can be your story too. A story of a life changed with an opportunity attached to it. This is the opportunity. You can have it all. You can overcome, achieve, and grow. We can be healthy and wealthy. You can be in a loving relationship with not just another person, but with yourself. The most important relationship of all. Without getting to the core of every essence of your life, your strengths, weaknesses, addictions, pains, habits, goals, pain points, and core values. This is it. This program will change your life. It's you changing your life, right? You can change your life. Giving yourself the gift to continually evolve and grow throughout your life. And stop acting like, because I'm speaking for me, I'm speaking for a friend. I can't do it all on my own.
Right.
There's a part that independence always used to mean to me, and I see where it came from. Not my belief, but I adopted it as my own, that it's it's all yours to do on your own. You figure it out. And that's so not true. That's just not how the world works. It is.
I used to think that too. It's a normal thing. Yeah.
And guess where it gets you? Nowhere.
It gets you frustrated, resentful, angry, and stuff.
You're gonna live a small, miserable life. I mean, what is there? I don't know. I can't remember if it's 7 or 8 billion people on this earth. It's like, if we're not all working together and being independent now, to me, means knowing that there are things I can depend on from other people, and I can get from them. That is a true sense of independence. It's
knowing yourself well enough to know when you ask for help.
And then go ask for it.
Totally.
Go get it.
Yeah.
That is being independent. It's not just sitting around waiting for people, like, just to show up and read my mind and know what I need. And huge difference.
Yeah.
Huge difference. Wow. Oh my gosh, Louise, this has been an amazing conversation. Yes, we went almost 2 hours.
You're awesome. You really.
I love this. I know. And I saw those 12 modules and I'm like, okay, I should just go through and whatever. But the more I looked at them, I'm like, it is. Let's just slow down. I'm taking my own advice. Enjoy the journey. Enjoy the conversation. And it is. It sounds silly, but sometimes I can even tell I rush through the conversation, because if someone's listening, it's like, oh, you don't want to them be like, oh, they're bored or this or whatever.
Right.
It doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
It's there's so many people out there that get little snippets from this or that. And I don't know, I got so much out of this. It was such a pleasure talking to you. So if people want to work with you, where can they find you?
Oh, okay. So if they go to louiseashby.com, I'm giving complimentary transformation sessions out. You get a 1 transformation session. So it's like a discovery process transformation call. So they can go to the website, have a look around, and then there'll be a link where you can connect to set up your time, or just email me at louise@louiseashby.com and we'll get something on the calendar. And there's lots of fun freebies on there as well. I'm adding more and more things every day. So yeah.
Awesome.
And I'm here to help and to hear, I just love it. Anything we can do to help each other, I think, is awesome.
Definitely, for sure.
That still means you're independent, because you made the independent choice to get help, right?
That is it. No, 100%. And I think that so many people get stuck there, especially without reaching out and asking for help. But that is being independent. It's knowing I need help. I can't go this alone. And I would be so much further in life.
Right.
I could see these goals and these dreams and everything actually becoming my reality if I depend on someone else to guide me there. But I have to be independent and show up and seek that person out. I mean, there's so much. Yes, so much. Anyway, thank you so much. I appreciate your time and your wisdom and your energy and
your energy is awesome. You're just awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to Authentically Raw. I'd love to hear from you. Shoot me an email, jamie@jamiebarris.com, and let me know what episodes resonate with you and why. Are you a people pleaser? If so, I need your help. Please, I'm writing a book about people pleasing titled The People Pleaser's Guide to Pissing People Off, to improve your relationships, especially the one you have with yourself. And I'm looking for personal stories of how people-pleasing has impacted your life, or sucked the life out of you. Maybe people-pleasing has held you back, caused you to feel resent, regret, anger, powerlessness, or just plain exhaustion. Let me know how it's impacted your life. Who knows, maybe your story will inspire my writing and grace the pages in some shape or form in this handy-dandy little guide. Also, if you enjoy the Authentically Raw content, please support the show by following and leaving a review on Apple Podcasts. Simply scroll down through the episodes and you will see where to do so. Want to learn more about life coaching? Head over to my website, jamiebarris.com, and check it out. You can also follow me on social media at Jamie Barris for lots of inspiration and empowerment. One last thing, I'm rooting for you. Be real, be raw, be authentic.